Hello there, YouTube. How the hell are you? My name is Vac, and I'm a gamer. And I am a longtime RVR slash PvP MMO gamer. I started my MMO career in a game called Dark Age of Camelot. I played Warhammer Age of Reckoning. These are the games that I love. And they're really out of vogue in the gaming community, but there are some crowdfunded MMOs coming into play now that are RVR focused. And one of those is Crowfall. And I've had about 5 days now, 6 days to play the Crowfall Beta and kind of get my bearings. Now I'm a backer, but I never really did play the alpha. I had other things going on, and so I came into the beta pretty cold. And I've learned a few things on my way to level 30 that I thought might be helpful to you. So when you first begin your journey, you're going to come out into a screen that's going to have 3 different worlds that you can go to, right? And those will be Eternal Kingdoms, which is kind of like a pocket dimension, like a private little world of your own where you can build structures and invite people, and you can even open it up to the public. But that's a PvE thing that we'll get into later in another video. It doesn't really matter that much for your leveling or your initial experience. There's the God's Reach, which is where I'm at now and where you're going to want to go. And then there's campaign, and campaign is like supreme in-game stuff. That's like the biggest RVR out there. Unless you're in a major guild that can compete, there's really not a whole lot of point of you heading out there, and there's certainly no point to it before you get to 30. So let's talk about how you do that, because it can be done in one day. Like any good PvP game, leveling is not the focus here. The action at the end is. And so I really like that about this game. It really only took me a couple of days being a complete neophyte to get my character to level 30. And my friends, I've been able to help power level them up in one day. It's pretty simple. So here's what you do. You're going to go to God's Reach, just make your character, and you're going to pop out in this room. Giuseppe over there, that little hamster, he's going to start a quest line. And it's not going to be like, it's not like WoW or any of these other PvE games where there's like 100 different quests you can pick up. And it's just one line. You start there, it ends in another place down the road when you're about level 20, and it's just one quest to the next. It's very linear. And you know what? It's the only quest line in the whole game. So just do it. Just do it, read it. It'll teach you the basics of the game, the basics of crafting, the basics of sacrificing items for XP and how keeps work and how you build them up. Just do it, right? He's going to take you out. And the second person you're going to want to talk to will be this big guy on this pedestal over here, the Sentinel of Earth. And you'll be coming back to him at various points. You'll always see some new players standing around him because you're picking up and ending quests right there where he's at. Now this over here is going to be basically your lifeblood through your first 30 levels of the game if you're a new player in this beta. This is where all the merchants are that will sell you armor, sell you weapons, give you food. There are various crafting stations in this area over here that you can use to experiment with crafting. You can even buy raw materials if you don't care to go out and farm them. And most importantly, right here, next to the stable master and the door out to the world, where you're going to go out there and start fighting, wolves and what have you, and learning the game. This right here is where you're going to buy your disciplines, and disciplines are basically like sets of abilities that you're going to slot into these empty slots that you will open up as you in fact, I have an open miner I need to pick something up for, but as you level up your talent trees, you're going to open up these spots that you're going to slot disciplines in, and these merchants here will sell them. Now this guy right here is a bit of a gambling merchant. You can come over here, and if you can't get what you want off of these merchants, you can buy mystery items and hope you get a decent quality magic item that has an effect you're looking for. If you're really looking for something specific, like plus stamina or what have you, and you have the gold to spend, then that guy is pretty decent. And also, these are all statues to gods in the game, and there are braziers in front of them. And one of the quest lines that you take will point this out for you, but it bears repeating. Sacrifice items. If you throw items in this fire, it will give you straight XP for them. Now I'm max level, so it's not going to give me nothing, but it's really helpful in getting leveled up faster. So do the quest line. That's the first advice I can give you. And basically, if you lose your thread on where you're at, if you hit escape and you come, or I, or whatever other hotkey you've got to bring this stuff up right here, over here on this left, there is a bar that has a quest log on it. Pull that quest log up, and that will tell you everything that you need to know and get you on the right track if you lose the thread of where your quest wants you to go. Also, this compass on the very top, you know, I'm looking west, I'm looking north, I'm looking east. That compass will have a big question mark wherever your next quest objective is found. So you're gonna go through a long, well, I say long, but like an hour or two of questing tops. And then that's going to take you through this zone plus 2 more, and the portals to those can be found right up here on top of where you started, which was down there in that little dugout. And you'll use these portals to get to the next areas. The second one they'll send you to is the Rune Gate to the Sun Temple, and that's levels 13 to 18. You'll do a bunch of quests in there, and then it'll bring you back here again, and then you'll get sent to the Rune Gate to Vanaheimer, and that takes you from 19 to 24. And if you don't do a lot of excessive grinding, you're basically going to be right around level 18 to 20 when you finish up that quest line. And they'll bring you back here to do it. You'll finish it up over there at the Sentinel of Earth. And when you're done with all that, you're going to have 10 or more levels to go. And honestly, this is not the greatest game for a solo player. This is a game about coordination amongst small groups and big groups. There are, of course, avenues where you can make a stealther and have a lot of fun running around solo ganking people, don't get me wrong. But largely this is going to be a game about coordination. And in any good RVR game is, really. So the final, when you get done with all of that stuff, the place you're going to want to go is right here to Blendon. And Blendon is a zone that is level 25 to 30. There are only 2 major camps in the game there. And if you look at the maps, the way this looks, the way enemy camps are, they look like basically red tents, right? And you can mouse over them and see the difficulty level of the opponents there. So you're going to want to finish up in Blendon, and the best camp is the highest level one, all the way on the east side of the zone. Go to Blendon and find a pickup group. Take your buddies if you got any, but then fill yourself up to a 5-man group and just go grind. And it won't take long. And if you have any buddies that are level 30, talk them into coming along too, because they don't really cut into your XP very badly like it does in other games. You can get power leveled in this game. As a level 30 cleric, I was able to power level a friend of mine from level 18 all the way up to level 30 in less than an hour. It's not difficult. So with a DPS character, I imagine that would be even easier. So get your leveling done that way. Solo your way through the quest lines that'll get you close to 20. You know, sacrifice all the items you can to get XP at every opportunity that you can. And in fact, at that far east camp in Blendon that I'm talking about, there is a sacrificial altar there on site, a bank nearby, a campfire to cook food, everything you need, right? So go there, get a group, get yourself to level 30. Now, once you're level 30, then the next question is, where do I go? Of course, you want to go RVR, right? Get yourself the best gear you can put on yourself in the situation, and then just go test out the RVR, because that's the last part of testing the character, right? It's one thing to have killed a bunch of monsters and you've killed a bunch of mobs and you kind of have an idea of how the character works in PvE, but if you really want to know whether or not that's the character for you, then, and really honestly, it's pretty easy to test these characters because it's so easy to level them, but if you really want to test that character in where you're going to really be using it, you need to get out into the RVR. So what you do is you're going to want to go to, let me log out here. There are 2 RVR zones. There's the campaign, which you saw at the very first screen when you logged into the game. Now that, we jumped into that too early, my friends and I, and it turned out to be kind of a bad move. We had some fun, we killed some people, we took their stuff, you get skulls of the people you kill. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool place. But if you're not in a major competitive guild, you're going to have a tough time there. You're going to get run over by Zergs a lot, because it's just guild versus guild action there. And that's what I'm talking about is the campaign maps right here. And plus, once you go in there, you're locked in. You have embargoes. You have to pay embargo tokens to carry items in and get them out again later. You can't get them out until the end of the campaign. So once you're in there, you're locked in there. So if you're not in a good position to be there, that's not the place that I would go. In fact, what I would suggest would be when you go to God's Reach If you go down here to the bottom right, you can browse the God's Reach worlds. And of course, you should pick a God's Reach that's, whether you're East Coast, West Coast, or European, you should take the one that's probably going to give you the best ping. But where you really want to start your RVR portion of your testing is in the Infected. And what the Infected is a true realm versus realm fight. There are 3 factions in the game: Sun, Moon, and Earth. And basically, order, chaos, and neutrality. Doesn't really matter though. Just pick a faction and get out there, and there will be, even if you're solo, there will be other players of your faction who will be running around taking objectives and keeps and castles and outposts and all of that. And all that's happening there, and instead of it being a guild versus guild fight, which you may not be well positioned to do as a new player in a fresh level 30, this is a place where you can go and get a pickup group and RVR with people who are in the same faction as you and are encouraged to work together to defeat the enemy and take over the zone. Right. So when you go into the Infected, there'll be a number of various worlds you can go to from there. There'll be keeps everywhere, there's all kinds of objectives, and it's a good place to get an idea of how your character will play in RVR, which is of course what you're looking to do, right? And it's a great place to test out the basics of PvP warfare in this game: the capturing of keeps, the capturing of outposts. How do these things work? What are the timers like? So that's where I would suggest you start. Get yourself a good foundation for how to play in Infected, and then move to the campaign later. Especially if during your time in Infected, you meet some people, make some friends, and join a good guild, because that's the best thing you're going to be able to do to really increase your enjoyment of this game. Like I said, this is a game of coordination, and you need good players around you to coordinate and win in a game like this. So, reiterating everything: do the quest. Sacrifice items. When you finish up the quest, go to Blendon, go to the harder camps, and just grab a pickup group and finish it out, man. It will not take long. You'll be surprised at how quick you can level in this game. And then once you're done with that, go check out the Infected, right? You're not locked into a long campaign. You can leave the Infected. You can go back to God's Reach. You can help power level your buddies. You're not locked in anywhere. So I would start there at the Infected, and then we'll move to campaign later. And when I know more about that, you'll know more about that. So anyway, that's what I've learned in the last week of playing the Crowfall Beta. I hope you found that helpful. So until I see you guys again, my name is Vac. Be cool. Keep gaming. I'm Vac, and I'm out of here.